Hey nerds, it's Allison Monday from Tiny Blue Orange, and today I'm going to walk you through the menus section of WordPress. This is included with WordPress out of the box. If you need to know where that is, it's right under Appearance. So in your left sidebar menu, underneath Appearance, you can scroll down and you can see Menus, and that's where I'm at right now. And so your page will look probably similar to this. We're going to go ahead and walk through creating a new one. So in order to do that, I'm going to click this Create a New Menu link. And as soon as I do that, it's going to ask me to give my menu a name. And really, you can name it whatever you want. So once you give it a name, click Create Menu. And so now is where we get to really customize. So before we get to adding things to the menu, what I want to point out is the menu settings first. So there's a couple options that you have with menu settings. And the first one is auto add pages. So anytime you add a page to your WordPress site, if you have this box checked, it will automatically add it to your menu. There's a couple instances I can think of where that might be good, but most of the time I would recommend not having that checked, especially if you're creating things like thank you pages. You wouldn't want that page to show up directly on your menu. And then the next option is theme locations. Now this is pretty dependent on your theme that you have installed. This also exists under the Manage Locations tab. So now that you know what those menu settings are, let's go ahead and add some pages. So within the menu wizard, you're going to have a lot of options. Now, iThemes Exchange and products are going to be for those people that have iThemes Exchange installed like I do. Out of the box, you're going to have pages, links, and categories. Depending on your added plugins, you might have more things. But what each of these are is they're easy, quick ways to add items to your menu. So if you wanted to add a very specific category to your menu, you would use the category section. So let's say I wanted to have all of my WordPress posts right on the menu. So I'm going to click Add to Menu, and there it shows up. Then let's say I wanted to add a link to an external site. So you add the URL right there, and the link text can be whatever you want. Click Add to Menu. And so then it shows that it's custom. And then let's add some pages. So you have lots of options, and the same is true with categories. But you have most recent, view all, and search. So if you have a ton of pages and you don't want to like scroll through and you know exactly what you're looking for, you can start typing it. So I want contact, so I'm going to add that to the menu. And let's go back to view all. About sounds like a good thing to add. Let's add some of this. And so you can add multiple pages at one time. I'm just being kind of putsy and adding them individually. So anytime that you have them selected, you can click Add to Menu. It thinks for a second, and then they load. So again, this shows category, this is custom, and then these were all added from pages. So now let's customize the menu itself. Just like these sections have this little arrow icon, each one of the pages that you added to your menu, or links that you added to your menu, has the same. So the great thing with those is it gives you a whole bunch of customization. Now, before we get too far, if you're not seeing these at all, go up to the top and click Screen Options. When you do, that's going to give you a drop down that shows your options. So you can hide or show these things just by simply checking a box. So navigation label, that just means what it is on your menus. So this was any blog post with a category of WordPress. And so by default, it just loaded the category, but that's not very descriptive or helpful. So I'm going to make the navigation label WordPress posts. This checkbox is something that a lot of people ask about. Open link in a new tab or window. If you have that checked, anytime somebody clicks on it, it'll open in a new tab. CSS classes, this is something that as a developer I love. Occasionally I'll have a design that has different stylings for different menu options, and so this gives me the ability to add those styles. And then description, you can type a description, but as this message talks about, your theme has to support it. So a perfect example of this, it's a site that I did for Amanda Genther. This italic text underneath is the description. And then the nice thing is that the WordPress menu section will tell you what the original navigation label was. You'll notice that this hasn't changed to match the label just yet. That's because I haven't saved it. So if I go ahead and save the menu, now it shows as what that navigation label is. And again, the original shows down here. Remove and cancel, those are great buttons to know. So let's say I decided that I didn't want this external link anymore, I would just click remove. So now that you kind of understand the settings that you have for each one, let's talk about arranging. When your mouse looks like a crosshair, is you can click and you can drag that menu item around. So let's say I wanted about at top, and then let go when you have it where you need it. Contact, we're going to move up, and that's going to be good. And then you'll notice that if you move it to the right or to the left, you can create submenus. So if I indent this, then it's a sub item of clients. Again, your theme has to support drop-down menus in this case. So an example of that drop-down menu, like on my site, when I hover over security quiz, free security guide shows up. And depending on your theme, you can have multiple layers. So let's just say my theme supported multiple drop-down menus. I could then nest an item underneath testimonials and so on and so forth, and you could just keep going and have a blast with it. So just to give you an idea, we're going to quickly save this as the primary menu. I'm going to refresh. And there you go. You can see how easy it was to add these items and to kind of rearrange and move them around. And that's WordPress menus.